The applause thundered through the grand auditorium as my name was called. Madison Clark, valedictorian, Harvard Business School. I stepped onto the stage, my heart steady but my mind racing. From the bright lights, I could see my parents sitting in the front row, their smiles fading as they heard the words Harvard and valedictorian. My younger sister, Chloe, clutched her champagne glass in disbelief. They had no idea I had even attended Harvard, let alone graduated with top honors and secured an executive position at Goldman & Wright, one of the most prestigious firms in New York. Watching their shock was the moment I had been waiting for. My revenge was silent, elegant, and long overdue. Growing up in Portland, Oregon, our house looked perfect from the outside. White picket fence, well-kept garden, Sunday church visits. Inside it was a different world. My parents, David and Rachel Clark, adored my younger sister, Chloe. She was their golden child, the center of every conversation, the reason behind every sacrifice. I was the quiet one, independent, reliable, invisible. When I was 15, I asked for a used laptop to work on my school projects. My father sighed, saying money was tight. 2 weeks later, he spent $2,000 on Chloe's 10th birthday party, complete with ponies and a magician. When I questioned it, my mother simply said, "You're older, Madison. You understand these things." That was the moment I learned that understanding meant accepting neglect. As I grew older, the favoritism became clearer. I worked tirelessly through high school, maintaining a 4.0 GPA, winning debate championships and volunteering at shelters. I dreamed of Stanford or Harvard, a chance to prove myself. When I got accepted to both, I ran home excited to share the news. My parents exchanged uncomfortable glances. "Honey, we're so proud," my mother said softly, "but college is expensive. Maybe start at a community college first." I was heartbroken, but I believed them. Until a few months later when Chloe announced she had been accepted into NYU's fashion design program. My parents celebrated like she had won an Olympic medal. They paid her tuition in full, rented her an apartment in Manhattan, and bought her a brand new car. I asked where the money came from. My father's tone turned cold. "Chloe's degree is an investment. You'll figure things out, you always do." That night, I sat alone in my room, tears falling on my scholarship letters, and I made a promise to myself. One day I would make them regret every choice that pushed me away. I took out a loan, got 2 part-time jobs, and attended a state university. During the day I attended classes. At night I waited tables at a small diner. Sometimes when the cafe lights dimmed and the city went quiet, I'd sit outside on the curb, exhausted and hungry, whispering to myself that one day all of this would mean something. While Chloe posted pictures from rooftop parties in New York, I worked on finance papers and dreamed of freedom. My parents rarely called unless they needed to brag about Chloe's fashion shows. When I finally graduated with honors, they didn't even come to my ceremony. Instead, they sent a short text that read, "We're proud of you. Keep working hard." It was all I needed to remember who I was doing this for. 2 years later, my hard work started paying off. I joined a small financial firm in Boston as a junior analyst. Most people ignored me at first, but I was determined to prove my worth. I worked through weekends, analyzed reports others threw away, and volunteered for impossible projects. That's how I met Eleanor Wright, the CEO of Goldman & Wright. She was a force of nature, intelligent, composed, intimidating. After a presentation, she approached me and said, "You have a mind that sees what others miss. Don't waste it here." That moment changed everything. Under Eleanor's mentorship, I learned not just about finance but about power, how influence worked, how silence could be more commanding than anger, how success could cut deeper than revenge. She helped me secure a corporate scholarship to Harvard Business School. I didn't tell my parents. They didn't deserve to know. While I was building my future, Chloe's world was collapsing. Her boutique business failed after just 6 months. Her debts piled up and her credit cards were maxed out. My parents sold part of their property to bail her out. They told everyone it was an investment in Chloe's creative vision. I watched quietly from afar, my bank balance growing, my network expanding, my confidence sharpening. By the time I was 27, I had built an investment portfolio worth over $2 million. Yet to my parents, I was still the daughter who never needed help. Then one day I got an email that made me smirk. It was from Chloe. "Hey Maddie. Heard you're in New York too. Can you help me get a job? Maybe something in finance? I really need a fresh start." I could almost hear the desperation behind her cheerful tone. A week later my father called. "Your sister's had a tough time," he said sternly. "She's family. Help her out." I said calmly, "Of course, Dad. Let me see what I can do." That night I opened a job posting in my department at Goldman and Wright. An entry-level assistant role, low pay, long hours, the kind of position that chews people up and spits them out. I forwarded it to Chloe, pretending to be generous. She applied immediately, mentioning me as her reference. HR, impressed by her connection to me, hired her. Her first day was one I'll never forget. As she walked into the glass meeting room, dressed in an expensive outfit she couldn't afford, she froze when she saw me sitting at the head of the table. "Madison," she whispered. I smiled. "Good morning, Chloe. Welcome to Goldman and Wright." She looked around, confused. "Wait, you work here?" I leaned back in my chair. "I don't just work here, Chloe. I run this department." Her face drained of color. I watched her try to regain composure, pretending it didn't bother her, but every mistake she made after that was a reminder. She was under my command now. I didn't humiliate her publicly or make her job harder. I didn't need to. Every time she addressed me as Miss Clark, every time she watched me walk into meetings she wasn't invited to, the revenge was already happening. A few months later came the company's winter gala, a black-tie event attended by investors, executives, and the press. Eleanor pulled me aside just before the ceremony and said, "Madison, I want you to give the closing speech tonight. And by the way, congratulations, Vice President." My chest tightened. This was the moment I had been preparing for. I sent invitations to my parents, claiming it was a small corporate event. They came, dressed elegantly, smiling proudly, unaware that their illusion of superiority was about to shatter. That night, the ballroom glimmered with crystal chandeliers and murmurs of success. As I took the stage, the room fell silent. 10 years ago, I began, someone told me I wasn't worth investing in, that I'd figure things out on my own. Tonight I want to thank them because they were right. I did figure it out. And it made me unstoppable. Applause erupted. Cameras flashed. My parents sat frozen, the color draining from their faces. Chloe looked down, tears in her eyes. When Eleanor took the microphone to announce my promotion, she added, "Madison Clark, one of the youngest executives in Goldman and Wright history." The audience cheered, my name echoing through the hall. And in that moment the years of silence and pain transformed into power. After the gala I walked out to the terrace for some air. The city lights of Manhattan sparkled below like a constellation of everything I had earned. My parents approached hesitantly. My mother's voice trembled. "Madison, we're proud of you." My father tried to smile. "We knew you'd do great things." I turned slowly, meeting their eyes. "No," I said softly. "You hoped I wouldn't." They looked shocked. "We did our best," my father muttered. "You were always so independent." I smiled faintly. "You didn't make me independent. You made me alone. There's a difference." Chloe stepped closer, tears running down her face. "Maddie, please. I'm sorry. I didn't know they used your college fund for me." I looked at her, calm and composed. "You didn't want to know." I handed them a card. My assistant's number. "If you ever need financial advice, contact her. She handles my charity accounts." They didn't understand at first, but as I got into my car and the driver closed the door, they realized I wasn't offering help. I was offering distance. Months passed. Chloe eventually resigned, unable to face me at work. I heard she took up a job at a small design firm, finally learning what struggle meant. My parents tried to rebuild our relationship, sending letters filled with forced affection. I replied once, simply writing, "You taught me how to survive without love. For that I'm grateful." I built a scholarship fund in my name, the Clark Foundation for Overlooked Students, to support young women abandoned by their families' choices. The first recipient was a girl from Portland who reminded me of myself. When she asked why I was helping her, I said, "Because once no one helped me. And I know how that feels." Now, as I stand by my office window overlooking Manhattan, I sometimes think back to that graduation stage, to my parents' stunned faces and my sister's silence. Revenge, I've learned, isn't about destroying someone. It's about becoming so far beyond their reach that their apology no longer matters. They gave my sister everything, and in doing so they gave me the greatest gift, the will to take everything back. My success was my revenge. And the best part? I didn't have to say a single word.